The story begins with Kageyama Shusei, a teenage boy who is incredibly popular at his school. Girls constantly swoon over him, hoping to catch his attention, but Shusei remains indifferent. He doesn't seem interested in anyone, no matter how much admiration they show. Among his admirers is a girl named Mo. Unlike the other girls who only dream from afar, Mo decides to take a bold step. She confides in her best friend, Aoi, about her plan to confess her feelings to Shusei. Hearing this, Aoi encourages her, offering full support. However, things don't go as Mo hoped. When she confesses her feelings to Shusei in front of their classmates, he rejects her without a second thought. His cold response leaves her embarrassed, and instead of comforting her, the other students laugh at her humiliation. Aoi, furious at seeing her friend treated so poorly, confronts Shusei. She scolds him for being so heartless. Instead of apologizing, Shusei smirks and teases her, accusing her of wanting to confess her own feelings for him. This baseless accusation angers Aoi even more, and in a fit of frustration, she kicks him. Unfortunately, this causes Shusei to fall down the stairs and sprain his ankle. Feeling guilty, Aoi reluctantly helps him home. To her surprise, Aoi learns that Shusei lives in the same apartment building as she does. Even more shocking, their apartments are directly across from each other, something she hadn't noticed because Shusei had only recently moved in. After helping him to his room, Shusei asks Aoi to cook for him, claiming that his injured leg makes it hard for him to move. Though annoyed, Aoi agrees out of guilt. As she starts cooking, Shusei sneaks up behind her, startling her. His sudden approach makes her lose focus, and she accidentally pours too much sake oil into the pan. As a result, a massive flame erupts from the stove, setting off the fire alarm. Moments later, the sprinkler system activates, drenching the entire apartment and leaving Shusei's room completely soaked. With his room out of commission for repairs, Shusei has no choice but to temporarily move into Aoi's apartment. Although Aoi feels partially responsible for the accident, she's irritated by Shusei's carefree attitude. Her annoyance only grows when she finds him lounging around her apartment as if it were his own. To make matters worse, after taking a shower, Shusei casually walks around in just his underwear, leaving Aoi flustered and frustrated by his audacity. The next day at school, Aoi overheard a troubling rumor. A pair of students who had secretly been living together were expelled. The news filled her with dread. She became determined to avoid Shusei at school, fearing that any interaction between them might expose their living arrangement. Keeping their situation a secret was her top priority. However, her plan fell apart when she bumped into Shusei in the school hallway. To her shock, Shusei casually handed her the key to her apartment in front of their classmates, including Mo. Panicked, Aoi quickly dragged him away from the group and scolded him. She explained how important it was to keep their living arrangement private and begged him to be more careful. Meanwhile, Mo, watching from a distance, felt a pang of jealousy. She couldn't help but wonder why Shusei had Aoi's room key and why they seemed so close. When Aoi returned to her friends, she tried to smooth things over by explaining that she had accidentally dropped her room key and that Shusei had simply returned it. But Mo wasn't entirely convinced by her story, her suspicions lingering. After school, Aoi decided to set some boundaries at home. She wrote a list of rules for Shusei, outlining what he could and couldn't do in her apartment, and posted them on the wall. Just as she finished, Shusei came home with his friend Sato, forcing her to quickly hide under a blanket. Shusei, of course, noticed her hiding but couldn't resist teasing her. He sat on the blanket and tickled her feet, making her squirm in annoyance. Furious, Aoi eventually emerged from her hiding spot, intending to leave the room while Sato was out on the balcony. Unfortunately, Sato noticed her. Thinking quickly, Aoi claimed she was just Shusei's neighbor, which to her relief, Sato believed. The next day, their landlady invited both Aoi and Shusei to a barbecue party scheduled for the following week. She even encouraged them to bring along their friends. Hearing this, Aoi decided to invite Mo, hoping it would distract her from her suspicions. Later that day, Mo came by the apartment. Unfortunately, her timing couldn't have been worse. Aoi was standing next to Shusei. Mo froze in shock, her eyes darting between the two of them. At the same time, Aoi panicked but quickly tried to explain. She told Mo that Shusei had just moved into the apartment building but deliberately left out the part about them living together. Mo seemed to accept the explanation, though her confusion lingered. A week passed, and the day of the barbecue finally arrived. Aoi, Shusei, and their friends attended, but the tension from the secrets and misunderstandings still hung in the air. At that moment, Shusei brought his brother, Soju, and Sato to the barbecue party, while Aoi invited Mo to join her. Aoi had been planning to tell Mo the truth about her living arrangement with Shusei, but before she could, a woman suddenly approached their group. It was Satsuki, Shusei's childhood friend and ex-girlfriend. Her unexpected appearance made the atmosphere tense, especially since Satsuki was noticeably cold toward Aoi. Despite the awkward start, Aoi and Mo spent time chatting with Sato and got to know him better during the party. By the end of the afternoon, they were laughing and acting like close friends. However, as Aoi was packing things into the car alone, Satsuki approached her. Satsuki, clearly noticing Aoi's closeness to Shusei, delivered a sharp warning. She told Aoi not to fall for Shusei, claiming it would only end in heartbreak. Not only that, Satsuki also confidently declared that no matter what, Shusei would only ever love her. Aoi, caught off guard, quickly assured Satsuki that she had no romantic feelings for Shusei. But Satsuki didn't seem convinced. She gave Aoi a cold, scornful look before walking away, leaving Aoi feeling unsettled. A few days later, the kind landlady gifted Aoi 2 tickets to an amusement park. Excited, Aoi immediately thought of taking Mo with her. However, before she could finalize her plans, Shusei snatched one of the tickets from her hand. Smirking, he announced that he would accompany her instead. After school, Aoi found herself waiting for Shusei at the amusement park, wondering why she hadn't refused him even though she claimed to dislike him. Lost in thought, she didn't notice Shusei arriving until he called out to her. Without wasting time, he dragged her along to try different rides. To her surprise, Aoi found herself genuinely enjoying the time she spent with him. His playful and carefree attitude made her laugh, and for a while, she forgot her frustrations. After a fun-filled afternoon, they decided to relax at a nearby cafe. While sitting together, Aoi noticed a colorful poster advertising a fireworks festival happening the following week. She was intrigued, especially since the poster mentioned a romantic legend. It was said that couples who kissed during the 7th firework would receive a blessing. Aoi, however, sighed at the thought, realizing she didn't have anyone to take to such an event, let alone a boyfriend. Shusei, overhearing her, casually offered to go with her. He thought the festival sounded interesting and suggested they check it out together. The next day, Aoi finally gathered the courage to tell Mo about her feelings for Shusei. She approached her friend with a heavy heart and apologized, explaining that even though she initially disliked Shusei, she had now fallen in love with him. Aoi admitted that she knew Mo had liked Shusei first and that her confession would hurt her. But she felt it was better to be honest than to hide her feelings. Mo was clearly shocked and disappointed by Aoi's confession. For a moment, she didn't know what to say. However, she eventually admitted that she had no chance with Shusei, as he had already rejected her. Despite her pain, Mo valued her friendship with Aoi more. She gave Aoi her blessing, promising to support her in pursuing a relationship with Shusei. Later that day, on their way home from school, Aoi and Shusei walked past a jewelry store. In the display window was a beautiful necklace that caught Aoi's eye. She stared at it longingly, wishing she could have it, though she didn't have the money to buy it. For a moment, she hoped Shusei might offer to get it for her. But he simply stood there silently, glancing at the necklace before walking away. When they arrived at their apartment building, they found Satsuki waiting in front of their door. Satsuki's expression was stern, and it was clear she was unhappy about their living arrangement. However, Shusei ignored her entirely, brushing past her and heading straight into the room without a word. Satsuki turned to Aoi with a sharp warning. She claimed that loving Shusei would be a mistake because he had a secret that only she knew. According to Satsuki, this secret was the reason they could never truly be apart. Aoi was irritated by Satsuki's arrogance and her audacity to threaten her despite being Shusei's ex. However, Aoi chose to remain calm and didn't respond. refusing to give Satsuki the satisfaction of a reaction. The next day after school, Aoi had an unexpected encounter with Shusei's older brother, Soju. During their conversation, Soju shared some surprising details about Shusei's life. He revealed that their family had always been emotionally distant, and Shusei had grown up without much affection or warmth. This explained why Shusei often seemed cold and indifferent toward others. Soju also mentioned that Satsuki, Shusei's childhood friend, was one of the few people who had consistently cared for him, even as he got older. Just as Aoi was processing this information, Soju did something completely unexpected. He leaned in and kissed her. Aoi was stunned and furious. It was her first kiss, and she felt violated and betrayed by his actions. News of Soju's inappropriate behavior quickly reached Shusei. Furious, Shusei went straight to his brother's workplace and confronted him, landing a punch to express his anger. After dealing with Soju, Shusei found Aoi sitting alone in a park, her face wet with tears. He told her bluntly to stop being so naive, warning that her trusting nature made it easy for others to take advantage of her. His words, though harsh, seemed to ground her, and before long, he managed to make her laugh. The two shared a rare moment of happiness together in the park. As time passed, Aoi's feelings for Shusei deepened. Hoping to impress him, she decided to change her appearance, cutting her hair into a fresh, new style. She also began preparing homemade lunches for him, surprising him at the restaurant where he had started working part-time. Despite these efforts, they continued to keep their distance at school, careful not to draw attention to their relationship. One day, Satsuki called Shusei unexpectedly. Whatever she said during the call seemed to unsettle him. Without offering any explanation, Shusei left to meet her, leaving Aoi behind. Still, Aoi waited for him to return, her hope flickering as the hours passed. Finally, her phone rang, and she quickly answered, thinking it was Shusei. But it wasn't him, it was Satsuki. In a smug tone, Satsuki told Aoi that she was planning to have fun with Shusei that night. Her sadness turned into anger, and when Shusei returned to the apartment, they got into a heated argument. Frustrated by the confrontation, Shusei decided to leave the apartment. But Aoi, determined to understand what was happening between him and Satsuki, chased after him through the pouring rain. She demanded answers, desperate to know the truth. However, Shusei remained silent, leaving Aoi standing in the rain, confused and heartbroken. The next day at school, Aoi was surprised to learn that Mo and Sato had started dating. Their excitement and happiness were clear, but they quickly noticed that Aoi wasn't herself. Her usually bright demeanor was replaced by a gloomy expression. Sato guessed that her mood had something to do with Shusei and, feeling sorry for her, decided to share a bit of Shusei and Satsuki's past. Sato revealed that 2 years ago, Shusei and Satsuki had been in a turbulent relationship. They often quarreled, sometimes even in front of him, yet they still tried to hold on to each other. However, everything changed on Christmas Eve. Shusei suddenly grew distant, showing no interest in Satsuki anymore. He avoided her entirely, refusing to meet or speak with her. Hurt and angry, Satsuki repeatedly called him, demanding to know why he was acting that way. When Shusei finally answered, she confessed that she was exhausted from it all. Her words hinted at something more serious, an intention to end everything. Feeling consumed by guilt, Shusei went searching for Satsuki after her troubling call. He eventually found her unconscious, but thanks to quick action, her life was saved after she was rushed to the hospital. Despite this, Shusei couldn't shake the heavy guilt that weighed on him. He blamed himself for what happened and carried that burden even to this day. After hearing Sato's story about Shusei and Satsuki's past, Aoi decided to return to her apartment. When she reached her door, she noticed a small pouch hanging on the doorknob. Curious, she opened it, only to find the necklace she had admired in the jewelry store. She instantly knew it was from Shusei, and the realization brought tears to her eyes. It was a gesture she hadn't expected, one that touched her deeply. In the days that followed, Shusei buried himself in his part-time job, avoiding his emotions. One day, Soju approached him to confront him about the situation. In Soju's eyes, Satsuki had been manipulating Shusei all along, treating him like a puppet she could control. Soju then urged his brother to let go of the guilt from the past and focus on his true feelings. Soju promised to handle the issues with Satsuki, but Shusei needed to stop holding himself back and fight for the one he truly loved. At the same time, Aoi was at home packing Shusei's belongings. As she worked, her eyes lingered on the necklace he had given her, her thoughts swirling with emotions. A few days later, she made plans to attend the fireworks festival with Mo and Sato. When the bus arrived, they encouraged her to go ahead, saying they would catch up on a motorbike. However, they had no intention of joining her. Instead, they went straight to Shusei to deliver a message. Mo and Sato told Shusei that Aoi was waiting for him at the fireworks festival. They also revealed that the necklace, while thoughtful, had left Aoi feeling conflicted because she still didn't know how Shusei truly felt about her. Their words struck a chord, and Shusei realized he couldn't keep running from his feelings. Borrowing Sato's motorbike, he raced toward the festival, determined to make things right. Along the way, he finally admitted to himself that his feelings for Aoi were real and that it was time to let go of the past. As the festival reached its climax, Shusei arrived and found Aoi among the crowd. Without hesitation, he apologized to her, his voice sincere. At that moment, fireworks exploded in the night sky, illuminating everything in a brilliant glow. Seizing the perfect moment, Shusei leaned in and kissed her, finally confessing his love. The film ends with Shusei gently placing the necklace around Aoi's neck, a symbol of their newfound connection and a promise for the future. So the moral of the story is, when you accidentally burn down someone's apartment, life might force you into unexpected roommate situations that involve stolen keys and surprise confessions. Turns out a little fire might just ignite someone's house and a love story you never saw coming.